Thesunnyadventure by Ira Alice. Thesunnyadventure. Indian summer came unexpectedly. After long rains, it became a shiny ray of light in the animal world. There was no more need to look for shelter from annoying raindrops falling from a dull gray sky. The forest came to life, sparkling with autumn colors and bursting with all kinds of scents. The musky smell of rotten leaves covered with dust, which they had collected over the summer. Of fragrant brown-capped mushrooms and honey egrets crowding around each other. Of motley cranberries spreading their fragrance around the area and attracting many local forest residents. But the bright berries of a lonely rowan tree, which by some miracle was growing in the center of the forest, seemed less appealing to the forest folk, for it was the house of the fox family. Redken was sleeping sweetly in a shallow hole under the rowan tree, curling herself up and putting her fluffy tail under her head. The leaves served as a warm blanket for her. Opening one sleepy eye, the little fox saw that the gray-eyed morning had already scattered its foggy mist over the edge of the forest. She wanted to sleep so much, but her mother had told her to go hunting early and bring some food. Redken stretched herself lazily, glancing casually at a stage beetle that flew right in front of her long nose, then turned away to doze off. "Redken, you promised," the little fox heard her mom's voice through her dream. "But Mom," the girl muttered without opening her eyes, "you are already a big girl and you must learn how to get your own food," her mother said softly but persistently. Redken was aware that there was no use arguing with her mother. She opened her eyes to find Mom's red face right in front of her. Mother Fox rubbed her nose against her daughter's face, gave her instructions once again, and ran away on her own business. "Well, how can I get food?" Redken lowered her ears in distress, watching her mother's fiery tail flicker in the dense shoots of nearby fir trees. "Mom has never shown me how she does this," the little fox sighed with disappointment. Getting out of her warm shelter, Redken gracefully arched her back, stretching her front legs, yawning and smacking her lips. The little fox caught the sight of a lonely sunbeam peeking from between the treetops. Redken circled around the beam, trying to bite it with her sharp teeth, but having failed, she sat down. "How can I catch you?" She looked at the beam of the cold autumn light with disappointment. "After all, I can eat you, can't I?" At this very moment, the little fox noticed a bright glow between the thick trunks of oak trees farther into the forest. "Maybe I'll find food there," Redken thought, and jumped to her feet. She was running and running, but there seemed to be no end to the forest. Passing the last oak tree of the forest edge, the fox found herself on a small hill covered with dry grass as if it were a tablecloth. Over the hill, she found the edge of a swamp covered with duckweed. Cautiously stepping with her white feet, Redken reached out for the duckweed. The smell seemed sharp. It was not like any forest smell at all. She touched the water with her nose, slightly wetting it, and recoiled sharply. "Pho!" snorted Redken. "What an unpleasant thing." "This is not an unpleasant thing at all. This is my home," came a squeaky voice. She whirled around but did not see the one who had objected. "Who's so brave here?" Redken asked defiantly. "Me." The same voice came out, but the fox still could not see the brave speaker. Redken looked around again, and under a wide leaf of a water lily, she caught sight of two beady eyes. "Are you the brave one here?" Redken screwed up her eyes. "Yes, it's me," answering a trembling voice, and a little green head popped out of the swamp. A little toad jumped out of the bog and proudly looked into the yellow eyes of the fox. Who are you? Asked Redken, surprised by the toad's courage. My name is Loud Croak. Loud Croak's voice was trembling, but his eyes were determined. He did not seem to expect such courage from himself. Redken carefully walked around the stranger, bringing her nose closer to his face, then sniffed. It smelled like a swamp. Puckering her black button nose, she turned away and sat down beside him. What are you doing here? The little frog asked. I got lost, the fox sighed. Mom told me to go and find food, but I don't know how to do it. Redken sadly lowered her head. And what do you usually eat? Loud Croak asked more freely. Redken scratched behind her ear. I don't know, she answered at last. Mom always gives me already cooked food. Loud Croak became thoughtful as well. They were silent for a while, and then Redken added, I wanted to bring the sun to my mother. The sun? The little frog looked at his new acquaintance in surprise. Is it edible? He added in amazement. I think so, Redken nodded. After all, just look at it. It is round and yellow like a delicious pancake, she exclaimed, pointing at the sun, which was now approaching the middle of the sky. Yeah, Loud Croak said with enthusiasm. Looks appetizing. I want to bring it to my mom. The little fox jumped around with delight. They say soon a cold white blanket will cover us all and the sun will hide behind it. How nice would it be to bring it to Mom? She exclaimed. Wow, Loud Croak jumped enthusiastically, then added, and I would also like to get a piece of the sun. Croak. Redken screwed up her eyes suspiciously, walked around the little frog and asked, just a piece? Yes, a tiny little bit, Loud Croak said plaintively. I'm small. I don't need much. Redken nodded with pride, as if the sun belonged to her only. Okay then, she agreed. You will help me get the sun for my mom, and I will give you a piece. On hearing a positive answer, Loud Croak danced joyfully. It was a beautiful autumn day. The sun was shining brightly. A tiny spider web with a small black lump glided softly between the fox and the little frog. Having survived the unexpected intruder, Redken and Loud Croak turned their dreamy eyes to the yellow circle in the blue sky again. Let's go! Loud Croak suddenly leaped off the hill. You see, it is there. We will get it. He pointed toward the forest. The little fox jumped joyfully. Great! Let's go and find it, she exclaimed, eagerly wagging her tail. They trod down the hill and without thinking twice headed toward the sun. Just imagine, Redken said dreamily. If I bring my mother the sun, it will be the best food we've ever had. Yeah, Loud Croak agreed. Your mom, Croak, should like it. With a proud look, the little fox stepped over the acorns scattered beneath an enormous tree. The leaves were rustled beneath her paws, while Loud Croak, who was lagging behind, tried to catch up with her. Suddenly, a branch with golden leaves rustled on the tree, and from there the curious red muzzle of a squirrel appeared. Strange, strange, she said quickly. Such a company, such a company. Are you friends? Friends? The fox and the frog looked at each other in surprise. Well, maybe, Redken was the first to answer. And who are you? A squirrel. I am a squirrel. I am Fluffy. Fluffy! She jumped from one branch to another. Where are you going? Where are you going? She was staring at the friends impatiently. We are looking for the sun. Loud Croak croaked joyfully. The sun? The sun? The squirrel opened her black eyes wide. Why do you need the sun? Why do you need the sun? We will bring it to my mother, Redken said dreamily. Do you know where to find it? She asked with hope in her voice. The squirrel again jumped from a thick branch to a thin one, clinging to it with her sharp claws. But didn't you know that the sun can be caught over there? Behind the treetops? Informed Fluffy knowingly. Really? Loud Croak asked in excitement. Yes, over there, over there. The squirrel pointed at the trees once again. Redken, then let's go quickly, croak. The little frog jumped with joy. They ran off and rushed in search of the sun, in the direction the squirrel had shown them. Thank you, Fluffy, exclaimed the little fox. Run quickly, the squirrel replied. You only have half a day, and then sun will hide behind the horizon. The horizon, she shouted back. The friends ran faster. Redken and Loud Croak were so happy they would soon find the sun that it seemed their mood had gotten better. A gentle breeze was swaying the treetops. The friends were sure that beyond the forest they would find the delicacy they could give to Mother Fox. They were going down a small hill when suddenly a stream appeared in their way. It was neither too wide nor too narrow, but it was rushing somewhere downhill at a great speed. The friends came to a stop right at its mouth. How shall we cross it? Redken asked, disappointed. After all, the sun is there, she said, pointing to the gap between the trees. I can swim, Croak. Loud Croak made a suggestion. Redken carefully lowered the white tip of her foot into the clear water. It seemed unpleasant and cold. She quickly recoiled. But I wanted to carry out my mom's task. I have to bring her the sun. The little fox lowered her head in despair. Loud Croak put his cold foot on her white toe. Then let's go around the stream, he suggested. Redken jubilantly raised her face. But what about you? She asked in surprise. After all, you can get there faster. No, I'll go with you, Croak. I promise to help you. Loud Croak said, proudly raising his green muzzle. They traveled along the stream, but the bank went on and on into the distance, and there seemed to be no end to it. Both tired, the little fox and the little frog sat down and looked at the other side they were trying to reach. We won't have time to get the sun, Loud Croak said sadly. Look at the yellow oak leaf floating down the stream. Then go and swim and get us the sun, the little fox lowered with her face. Looking at a reflection in the transparent stream, Loud Croak jumped into the stream and suddenly froze still. He turned around and looked at his friend. And what about you, Croak? He asked in embarrassment. I will wait for you here, she said, raising her eyes. Loud Croak had already turned to go swimming to the other side of the stream, but suddenly he got lost deep in thought and stopped moving. No, I can't leave you here alone. He jumped out of the water and sat next to Fox. Let's swim together. Loud Croak was inspired. Come on, Croak. Go ahead. He nudged her slightly. Redken looked at her friend in surprise and turned away embarrassed. I can't, she said in a low voice. Why? Loud Croak couldn't understand. Redken was silent for a while, and then she faintly added, I'm afraid of water. Loud Croak eyes were goggled. Redken didn't want to look at him, and she looked down. Without thinking twice, Loud Croak fell on his back and burst out laughing. It seemed so funny to the little frog. How, Croak, can you, Croak, be afraid of, Croak, water? He kept laughing rapturously. Redken turned away, trying her best not to look into the little frog's eyes. She was humiliated. She didn't say a word until Loud Croak had finished laughing, raised to his feet, and saw translucent drops rolling down from the eyes of the little fox. His cheerful mood gave way to shame. A blush came through his green skin. He approached his friend, feeling her resentment with all his body. I didn't think, Croak, that would offend you. He put his green foot on her white toes. It's just that I'm only a little fox and I can't swim, Redken sobbed. But it's not deep there at all. The little frog pointed at the stream in surprise. Come on, we can get over. He jumped to the edge of the water. Redken reluctantly crept behind. It's wet there, she whined. But if we don't try to cross the stream, Croak, we may be late, Loud Croak urged. Redken leaped her forepaws against the ground, forcing a roll of leaves into the water, but she didn't dare step herself into it. No, I won't, she screamed. Loud Croak jumped to the little fox from behind and started pushing her into the stream persistently. Redken was yelling and resisting, but she wouldn't budge. The little frog pushed his friend with all his might, but however hard he tried, he couldn't succeed. Then, without thinking twice, Loud Croak boldly jumped into the rapid stream of water. Cutting the water with his nose, he swam to the other side. Having climbed to the ground, the little frog waved to his friend, calling her to join him. Redken was shivering all over, but she could not make herself get into the water. The little fox understood if she did not cross the stream, she could not get the sun they were following. She was afraid, she was trembling, and tears were dripping from her eyes. The water seemed to be the worst nightmare that could happen to her. Loud Croak continued calling his friend to come. He was so far and so near at the same time. Redken closed her eyes as tightly as she could, hoping to hide from the water. Stretching her foot forward, Redken felt the cool stream and timidly put her white foot down. The water seemed to suck it deeper and deeper. Redken held her breath as if by doing so she could overcome all her fears. And so the little fox kept walking and walking until she was knee-deep in the stream. The water was beating against her red body. It sloshed in all directions, even reaching her face. The water droplets were hitting her nose, making Redken frown again and again. "Come on," shouted Loud Croak. Redken was trying her best. Soon she reached the middle of the stream. The water was already as high as her neck. Suddenly, Redken realized this and stopped opening her eyes. The little fox could now see just how far she had gone. The fear made her weak, right down to her bones, and she dove under the water's surface. Loud Croak's eyes widened with horror. There was a dry branch lying next to him. He immediately grabbed it and put it in the water. Redken emerged and disappeared into the depths of the stream. The little frog swam to his friend. He stretched the branch out to her, and when she appeared on the surface again, floundering about and splashing water, Loud Croak hooked her up with the branch, and Redken clung to it with her sharp teeth. Loud Croak pulled the branch along the surface of the stream and safely to the other side with all his might. The most difficult thing was to pull Redken ashore. He did not know where his strength had come, but in some incredible way, the little fox appeared on the shore, trembling and coughing. She was wet through, and water was streaming down from her fur. "You made it!" Loud Croak shouted happily. "You made it!" At first, the little fox could not understand what was going on. The fear of the water clouded her mind, and it was only after a couple of minutes that she realized Loud Croak was right. Having caught her breath, Redken shook herself and joyfully jumped in the air. "I've made it," she whispered and smiled weakly. "I'm proud of you, Croak." Loud Croak raised his face grandly. A woodpecker came flying over them. This caught their attention, and between the tops of the trees, they saw the rays of the sun shine through. "The sun is already high. We may not be in time," Redken said anxiously. "We need to keep going." Loud Croak agreed with his friend, and they went on. The forest seemed endless. They kept walking, skirting tall ferns and stinging nettles, but could not understand where those treetops behind the sun was hiding were. Something rustled behind the rose-hip bush, the branches of which bent to the ground under the weight of ripe fruit. At first, the friends were startled and froze still in place, but they took a closer look and saw a fluffy tail sticking out from under the leaves. Redken and Loud Croak went to examine it closer. What is it? Loud Croak inched nearer and pulled on a fluffy gray lump. The hillock of leaves budged. Loud Croak pulled more roughly. The leaves flew about to the sides, and a little gray hare leaped out in a flash from under the heap. He landed on the ground and covered his muzzle with his long ears so that only his sharp teeth stuck out from under them. "Who are you?" "Don't be afraid," Redken said quietly. The little hare half opened his veil of ears with caution, sniffing gently with his pink nose and raising his head slowly. In front of him stood a green shorty and red haired animal with a large fluffy tail almost as tall as he was. "What do you want from me?" the little hare asked, trembling with fear. Loud Croak was taken aback. "We thought it was you who wanted something from us, Croak." He screwed up one eye. "Yes," the little fox chortled bravely, straightening up. The hare timidly looked about, then straightened up and sat down. "I was hiding from you," chuckled the new acquaintance. "How could I want something from you?" They all burst laughing. "My name is Zippy." The young hare looked more relaxed. "What are you doing here?" "We are Redken and Loud Croak," the little frog introduced his friend and himself. "We want to bring the sun to Redken's mother. They say it is as delicious as pancakes," he added dreamily. "And we're going over there," he pointed to the treetops. "Why are you looking for the sun there? Is it hiding behind the cabbage field?" Zippy waved his hand in a completely different direction. "I've seen it there so many times." But Redken wanted to object, but she did not dare. Forest animals must know things better. Do you want me to guide you?" Zippy suggested suddenly. "I just wanted to have a snack of some cabbage." The little fox and Loud Croak exchanged glances. "And would you like a piece of the sun?" Redken asked playfully all of a sudden. "I don't eat such stuff," the little hare snorted. "I would prefer some cabbage and carrots." Zippy rolled his eyes and licked his two front teeth dreamily. "Then show us the way," Redken winked. The little hare, having made new friends, felt like a self-assured adult hare, for now it was already possible for him to hide behind their backs. "You go that way," Zippy pointed at the big hazelnut bush. "I will follow you." And the new friends did exactly so. Loud Croak leaped in front, followed by Redken. Zippy jumped after them, looking back from time to time. When they got to the hazelnut bush, the little hare pointed to a new landmark in the distance, a long row of birch trees. The white beauties were lined up, one after another, as if they had been planted at someone's request one day. The fragrant aroma of mushrooms tickled the nostrils of the animals, but it was so difficult to spot them with their eyes. The cunning birch mushrooms found shelter under a dense layer of golden yellow leaves, and only the tallest ones, like partisans, peered from under their secret canopy. The evening was coming. The sun had not gotten any closer. On the contrary, it seemed to be far away like a distant dream. Having walked along the path near the birch trees, Zippy showed off a new landmark. This time, it was a small hill covered with motley bellflowers. The friends immediately went there. The high green stalks seemed to be impenetrable thicket, but the fragrance of flowers was absolutely enticing. Loud Croak was moving between the thick stalks with seeming ease, whereas Redken was getting hooked by rough, jagged leaves and flowers, especially by her tail. Zippy was trying to hide behind the little fox, avoiding the obstacles. "How long shall we go?" Redken howled, unhooking her tail from one more bellflower. "We will come soon," Zippy replied from behind her. "If we had gone around the hill, the road would have been much longer." "What?" the little fox and the frog exclaimed together. "Was there another way?" "Croak," said Loud Croak. "Yeah." The little hare looked into their eyes with fear. But this way is faster, he added with confidence. Faster? The little frog looked as if he were going to die of a heart attack. Zippy was so afraid of the little frog's bulging eyes that he fell to his knees and covered his face with his ears once again. We have no more choice. Loud Croak looked at the long slope. We need to reach it before sunset, Croak. The little hare, opening his eyes, gave his friends a guilty look. There was nothing left but to go forward, be it down, right, or left, but they must continue their trip. Reaching the bottom of the hill, Zippy pointed to the clearance in the forest. It was a place where the cabbage field grew. Redken and Loud Croak hoped the sun was hiding there. There really was a field behind the forest. The animals had never seen so much cabbage before. But where is it? The little fox looked at the sky disappointedly. Where is the sun? It's still, Croak, far away. Loud Croak narrowed one eye with disappointment. Zippy, seeing the Sea of Cabbage, forgot about the fox and the frog at once. Choosing the thickest round cabbage head, he rushed to it, grabbed it with his paws, and began to gnaw it full of his excitement. The sun, yum, 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 is there. The little hare showed to the sky, chewing a cabbage leaf. The little fox peered into the boundless blue sky and licked her lips sadly. The disappointed little frog slapped himself on the forehead. It was getting dark. The desired sun was approaching the gray and pink horizon. Redken sighed and lay down, putting her paws under her head. Big tears were rolling down from her yellow eyes. Loud Croak silently sat beside her, looking sadly at the sun going down. At this time, a jay came flying by. Her belly looked so big that it seemed to be too difficult for her to carry. Noticing the bird from afar, Zippy jumped along the field and hid behind the cabbage barrier. Only his great tail was up again. What are you doing here, animals? Why are you crying? The bird called from above. We were looking for the sun, said Loud Croak, but it is too far away. But why do you need the sun? The jay asked in surprise, landing next to them. We want to bring it to Redken's mother, Loud Croak began, pointing at the little fox sitting next to him. She wants to give it as a present, Croak, to her. Oh, it's so noble, the jay admired. Could you fly over there? Loud Croak pointed to the bright circle in the sky. And see how far it is? Maybe Redken, Croak, won't cry anymore. No problem, the jay agreed and took off from the ground, going up into the endless blue sky. In a moment, the bird already looked like a blurry speck in the sky, and then she disappeared completely. Redken and Loud Croak rose from the ground and started walking in circles, raising their heads to the sky. The jay could not be seen. Where is that bird? Redken muttered. Why is she taking so long? Echoed Loud Croak. When a spot appeared in the sky at last, the little fox and little frog froze, still waiting. The spot was approaching, gradually transforming into the outline of the jay. Sorry, animals, but I still couldn't reach the sun, the jay said, sadly landing nearby. Redken and Loud Croak both sighed in disappointment. What shall we do? Redken burst into tears. Jay shrugged her wings and flew away flapping. On the horizon, the sun took the shape of a marmalade candy. We're late, Redken said quietly. Loud Croak looked at the dream, leaving them, and could not stand it. He jumped to Redken. Let's go, he cried. We can still catch it. Look, it's near the ground. That means we can catch it, Croak. It's too late, replied Redken. Loud Croak came close and began to push the little fox. Let's go, we'll still catch it up. Redken nodded, and Loud Croak, without a word, realized he could detain the little fox. He jumped onto her back, clinging tightly to the long fur. They rushed off, trying desperately to reach the horizon. The animals were running and running, but there seemed to be no end to the land. The wind was thrashing against their eyes, but they did not stop. And only when the air thickened and turned gray did Redken and Loudcroak realize that the dream was gone. "It's time to go home," Redken said, catching her breath. "Mom will worry." "We will definitely get it tomorrow. We'll be back." Loudcroak jumped down from her back and looked into her eyes. Redken sighed silently. There was still a long trek home ahead. The little fox did not remember where to go, but she could track the way back by the smell they had left behind. They arrived at the lonely rowan tree after dark. Mother Fox was walking around the tree with a terrifying look. The friends tried to become invisible. "You have come back!" The mother was shining with happiness. "And you're alive!" she exclaimed with excitement. The little fox mother jumped to her child and joyfully rubbed her nose against the daughter's. "I was so worried," she continued in a trembling voice, preventing Redken from saying a single word. "I even started to regret sending you to hunt, but I see that you've accomplished your task." And Mother Fox looked sideways at Loudcroak. This look made Loudcroak cringe and wish to hide behind Redken's tail. "How did I do it?" Redken was surprised. "You brought food," Mom nodded her head. "What food?" The little fox did not understand. "Well, here it is." Mom pointed at Loudcroak. "This is your food." Redken looked at Loudcroak, who was peeping from behind her tail in fear, and she felt as if someone had poured cold water all over her. "Is this my food?" she asked disappointedly. "Yes, daughter," said Mother Fox. Redken once again looked at trembling Loudcroak and then glanced at her mother. "We will not eat him," the little fox said firmly. "Why?" Mom looked at her daughter in bewilderment. "Because friends are not to be betrayed." The bright moonlight was shining on two figures sitting on a hill, one big with a fluffy tail and the other one very small. They were looking dreamily at the moon as if they saw a piece of cheese there. "Do you think it is tasty?" the bigger figure asked, half whispering, careful not to break the silence of the sleepy forest. "Very." "Can we get it for sure?" the fluffy shadow kept asking. "Together, we can do anything," the smaller figure croaked in response. The end.